Hi, I'm Dr. Christine Ebert-Santos, and I'm one of the co-authors of the book Surviving and Thriving at Altitude.
Mm-hmm. Can you give us a very brief synopsis of your book?
The book has 38 chapters on different aspects of living and visiting altitude, including the effects on your brain, your lungs, your heart, your dogs, your disc golf, your car, and how to really enjoy the mountains with hiking, biking, interviews with endurance athletes, nutrition, and how to keep oxygen on your child. Every day I'm talking to people about how to stay healthy as a pediatrician with a clinic in the mountains for 26 years. And every year I'm learning more from scientists all over the world and the research that I do. And I am passionate about sharing my experience and information with everyone else who loves the mountains. In addition to being a pediatrician and caring for patients at 9,000 feet, I love hiking 14ers and going on hut trips, biking over Vail Pass, and camping, and all the other wonderful recreational things that we have to enjoy up here. Anybody who visits or lives in the mountains will find helpful chapters in this book. And the book can be read in any order. You can just look at the table of contents and find the things that are most relevant to your life. Some of the research is primary clinical research, where I analyze data from real patients that are experiencing certain conditions at altitude. Some of the research is secondary research, where I go through the literature of scientific publications and even consumer-oriented publications like magazines, and write about information that I think will be helpful or interesting to people visiting or living in the mountains. Right now I'm reading the book about Cuba that won the Pulitzer Prize. I find that fascinating. But our current favorite book that we're recommending to everyone who loves the mountains is by Devin O'Neill, The Way Out. It's a true story of a hut trip that went wrong. The information in this book comes from traveling around the world to scientific conferences, whether it be Lake Louise, Canada, La Paz, Bolivia, the Chronic Hypoxia Conference, Haversage, England, for the International Society of Mountain Medicine, and I'm bringing back stories and information and sharing my observations with people who love the mountains around the world. Even going home to the mountains can be dangerous. After spending Thanksgiving Day with family in Vermont, Louis was excited to hit the slopes the next morning after his return to Colorado. But that night, he noticed that he was breathing harder and felt more tired than usual. As a competitive skier, Louis thought this was strange. He was still getting over a cold, so he went home early to rest, hoping a good night's sleep was all he needed. He could not have imagined that in 24 hours he'd be in the emergency room fighting for his life. Louis had developed re-entry hate, a dangerous condition that caused his lungs to fill with fluid.
Hi, I'm Roberto Santos. I'm the lead research writer for Summit High Altitude Information and Research, and research writer for highaltitudehealth.com, and co-author of Surviving and Thriving at Altitude. Set out to write this book with Dr. Chris because it's been part of our family's legacy, living at 9,000 feet in Summit County, Colorado for decades, and coming in, engaging with a lot of patients, hikers, skiers, snowboarders, and expeditionists at high elevations. We accumulated a lot of valuable information that has been really hard to find, that a lot of people have little access to outside of the science and medical communities. And so a big part of our mission was to make that this research and all related research more accessible and helpful to visitors and residents in high altitude communities across the world. And that research has taken us to conferences in Canada and South America and across the US and Hawaii. As far as who I think would really benefit from reading this book, just about anybody who wants to live at or visit a high altitude environment. We've learned that there are genetic factors that may predisposition anybody to high altitude complications or illness, but there are also a lot of benefits to living and being active in a low oxygen environment. And there are all kinds of details and factors that play into that. So we hope that this book will serve our high altitude communities and make this information more widely available for everybody. Happy reading. Something I've been really enjoying myself so far as books. I just finished Our Moon by Rebecca Boyle. I believe she's based in Colorado Springs. She's been a science and astronomy journalist, and it was fascinating to learn about how much the moon influences not just our bodies and the weather and our environment around us, but also the creation of the earth and ancient history. That was fascinating. I also just finished The Mountain Knows the Mountain, and I wish I could remember who wrote that. It was Philip something, but he served as a fire watch in the Gila Wilderness in New Mexico for years, and The Mountain Knows the Mountain is a lot of his poetry and prose, beautifully written about his observations and the wildlife out there and musings while sitting up in the fire watchtower. It's really great read. Thank you.